A lovely young cast. I mean, the only cast member that I really worked with was Bryce because he plays my grandson. A lot of the film takes place in flashback with the wonderful young actors Orlando and Arielle that we have. Um, but Mark is the perfect director for a film like this because he has a great sensibility. He has a great intellectual quality, but that comes with a very feeling heart, which was very important for this piece. I play a character who's a very successful person. She's an older person, obviously. She's called grand-mère, which means grandmother, and she's had a very successful life. But she had a very difficult childhood. As a young woman, she got caught up in the Holocaust in the Second World War and had to hide from the Nazis. And she was hidden by a boy that she herself had teased and been rather cruel to at school. So it's a wonderful story about redemption and about the importance of kindness. That is actually the theme of the film, is how very important kindness is. And she's telling her story to her grandson, who has been caught being a bully, being an obnoxious person at school. And she's finally telling him her story to bring him to an understanding of how important it is to support your fellow mankind. Very exciting. It's been a long time coming. We made this film about 4 years ago, and various things happened that stopped its release. So we've all been waiting for its release. And the wonderful, miraculous thing is we all feel that this is the best time for this particular film to be released because of the story it tells about conciliation, about friendship, about courage, about standing up for the underdog, standing up for your fellow man. So I think it's a very, very appropriate time for this film to be shown. And we're thrilled that we're here in New York showing it to the public finally.
Got y'all. I just have a lot of eyes to keep up with, so we're going to do several. Here we go, right in here. I can't see you guys. Sorry. Back up for a minute. Lots of eyes. Okay, stepping out. Right, everybody, cheers. You guys start at the end of everybody.
Right here, everyone.
And I think on top of that, like the whole movie is this, beautiful dialogue between generations of an older woman trying to help her teenage grandson understand that, that idea of kindness is timeless, and helps by letting him enter into her story. And it feels very modern, even though we're back in time. So there's something so beautiful and whimsical. And that's really a tribute to Mark Forrester. Like, he's a master storyteller. So that's why stories like this are things we're proud to be associated with at Kingdom.
Yeah, I think this is the type of film that sticks with you for a number of days after you watch it as a audience goer. The final cut and the final version did with me is I grabbed a bucket of popcorn and just enjoyed what was in front of me. And I found myself thinking about, okay, what are ways in my life that I can exhibit kindness that I had never thought about before? Because here are these people that were stuck in this extraordinary situation, and they did the unthinkable by being kind to the other person to the point of sacrificing their life. And it's like, it was so inspiring, the whole thing is. So for me, it was just, like Andy said, we, as Kingdom Story Company, we endeavor to do stories about a rush of hope, and this one is that in spades. Yeah. The themes of it are so prevalent today, in a very divisive world, I would say. Kindness is so needed right now, and to kind of let go of your circumstances and to be able to treat your fellow neighbor the person standing right next to you with the utmost of selfless kindness and self-sacrifice. It's just a beautiful story. It's a beautiful message to be able to get that out there right now.
I mean, I remember when I first saw the original movie Wonder, and it was all about kindness. And we had just started our relationship with Lionsgate, and they had become our distribution partner. And we're just like, if we could ever be a part of a movie like that, that would be amazing. So Whitebird comes along, and it takes that idea of kindness and it adds the element of courage to it in this one. So there's a line in the movie that's in the trailer that gets me every time, where this grandmother's trying to impart to her grandson this importance of that idea, and she said, when an act of kindness could cost you your life, it becomes somewhat of a miracle. So it's that idea of courage. I think we need courage in the world right now to do the right thing and to be kind to people and to stick up for the underdog.
Everyone to your right. And the last time over here.
Yeah, we look like a map.
Yeah, so this follows after Wonder, and Julian was kicked out of school, and he still hasn't really learned his lesson, which I think is a really interesting kind of thing to learn. Most movies that have bullies in them, they either resolve it at the end or they don't at all. And this it wasn't really resolved that much in Wonder. He apologized, but did he know what he was apologizing for? And I think that's why this one's so interesting, is because he finally really understands the gravity of the hate that he showed in Wonder. It's kind of a full circle thing where he finally gets to complete his arc, and I think that's really important to show that it's possible, Whether it's at a personal level, a historical level, no matter what, it's a very important movie in my opinion. It's an accessible thing a story we've all heard before, but coming at a personal level with Ariella and Orlando. And yeah, I think that's really important. Mark, I was a big fan of Mark for a long time. My family watched World War Z a lot when I was growing up. I know it's kind of like a gory movie, but I thought his direction on that was so amazing. So hearing that he would be directing this one, I instantly said yes, no questions asked, let's go. And then hearing that Helen was a part of it, I watched The Queen while in my apartment getting ready to film, and I watched it so close to filming that honestly I got very nervous to meet her because she's so good at what she does, but I realized that a good actor makes you a better actor, and I learned everything that I possibly could from her. She's amazing.
And right here, please. Look at Michael. Up top, please. Look at Michael.
And right here for me. One more look in here, please.
Both of you this way. What time? This way, please. Can I get the phone, Michael? Here, please. Both of you, here, hold that real quick. Look at Michael. Thank you. And both of you join your bodies to the right. Ariella, Orlando.
Look in here, please.
Ariella,
And the last
I
one
need
here.
your eyes.
Both of you this way, please. Right here.
One more time. Ariella.
Mark, it was fantastic. He's such a sensitive director, and he's such a visualist, and he's so good with actors that I don't think we could have picked anybody better. And I think you'll see that the film is just a beautiful looking movie. I find that movies come out when they're supposed to, and I think this movie speaks to the world in a way that we all need right now, which is about kindness and heroism and empathy and all of those sort of qualities that we could all benefit from right now. Well, I think if you look at the division of the country and look at, there's so much hate out there right now that I think this movie just speaks to love and kindness and all the things that we need to pay attention to right now. So I think it's, like I said, movies come out when they're supposed to, and I think this movie is so relevant today, even though it's set, during the Nazi occupation of France.
R.J. Palacio illustrated and wrote a beautiful graphic novel, and that's when I first received it. And then I received the Mark Bombach's script, and the novel itself was already so beautifully done and illustrated that I immediately knew what kind of story she wanted to tell. And she explores kindness in all of her work, in Wonder and now here in Whitebird. So that was so inspiring. I think these themes are important today because we're living in a very difficult time, and it's important that we find in a time that it's difficult for humanity, that there's light around us, and finding the light in dark times is really important.
I think the really important thing is the choose kind message, and that when you're in situations where there's an option to be generous, and maybe that option's difficult and maybe you have to choose to be very brave to do that, even a small act can have such a big impact. I think that the messages are relevant a century ago and unfortunately still relevant now and I think the important thing to note is that it's on a small scale with, your friends, people but also on a bigger scale of, socially choosing kindness across the whole world would be a good thing for everybody. So she starts off as a very normal teenage girl. She's 14 when we first meet her, and she sort of does normal school things. She doesn't like maths. She's got a crush on a boy in her year, and then her life is completely undone when the Nazis invade France and her school is occupied and she has to escape, and she's taken in by a classmate and hidden for 2 years. It was just such an honor to meet people like Helen Mirren and Gillian Anderson and Mark as well. It was just so special to meet them. I tried to watch all their movies before, which was just very intimidating, but just to be able to talk to them and become close with them, and they were just so welcoming and comforting, and it was just very, very special.
It's a beautiful evening to be here to share this movie. It took a long time to bring the movie out, but we both feel like it's never been a better time for a movie about kindness and about seeing each other. And that's the beauty of tonight for both of us.
Every time you finish a movie comes out, it's a very exciting moment, and you hope obviously that everybody will embrace the film and the work we have done. And so I think that the message of the movie is very timely, and it's a message of kindness, and I hope people will go and see it. It was we cast it during COVID, so we had to cast on Zoom, and it's a love story. It's a teenage love story, and the two leads have to have chemistry, and you want to make sure on Zoom that's sometimes hard to judge. So I was very nervous till I met them the first time if they actually will have chemistry and that it will work.
I know. I think it's because it's downstairs.
Right here, everybody. Right here. Right here. Right here. There we go. Thank you. Right here.
Okay, together right here. Thank you so much. And now wait.
It was the first time I'd ever worked with Mark. We had a lot of mutual friends, but we never actually worked together. It was strange because I was wrapping up something in post-production and he was coming on. We actually never physically were in the same space the entire thing because COVID hit. And so all of our prep was done during COVID, and actually even some of the rehearsals we did were over Zoom. So the first time we were physically in the same space was once we'd already wrapped here in New York. We had dinner together, which was weird. Yeah. But great. I didn't realize how tall he was. It was a shock to me. It's interesting because when something starts as a graphic novel, you do have some sort of references visually that you might not in just a novel. And everybody sort of embodies those characters that Raquel created so perfectly. I think also the two kids are just revelations. Like, I personally had not seen them in anything before and was blown away by both of their performances. Amazing. I first met Raquel, again, probably about 2020. And we had a really long, sort of very casual conversation talking about a lot of influences that came into the writing of the graphic novel. One of them in particular was Cinema Paradiso, which I wouldn't have assumed, but then we wound up really bonding over that movie and also the Louis Malle movie, Au revoir les enfants. And so we sort of used those as touchstones. And then really, because she's also a producer on it and is so gifted at storytelling, she became sort of an invaluable partner for me. So I would write a draft, send it to her, run ideas by her. And it's a great collaboration, and Mark Forrester joined the team. And again, we all just became sort of a really cohesive group. So it was a pleasure to adapt.
The last name looks familiar.
The people that I got to work with, and in particular Ariella and all of the wonderful people in the young cast, it was just so fantastic to be able to spend several months with them, bonding and working. The film set was such a great vibe. Mark is so kind and so giving. I genuinely couldn't ask for anything more as a director. Just working with him and being able to collaborate on different ideas, and with his support, it made filming feel so easy. And particularly with the subject material, it made dealing with that in a sensitive manner feel really comfortable, and it really helped me do my best for the film. Well, Julian is, I mean, if we want to talk about him in terms of character, he's above all kind, and I think that's really one of the methods in which the film shows what it wants to achieve. Julian is a boy with polio in war-torn France in World War II, and he shelters a Jewish girl. The film is really there for audiences to watch with an open mind and take away what they will. But for me, above all, it's just the ability to, in any situation and in any scenario, be witness to the events of the world and to recognize that it's really on us to choose kindness above all. And I think that's really a great way to move forward with everyone. Particularly now, I know we're all really excited because we think that this film is so important to get people to see. Yeah, it's set in World War II. It's set a while ago, but we really think that the message is timeless. The message of kindness is really timeless, and yeah, we just think that it's such a universal message, and it's really applicable in any era and in any context.
Right here, sir. Right here. Look at me. One more time, okay? One more time.
Can I use Shutterstock if you wanted that more center? I guess that's 880,
Well, especially now, in a time when the world is so radicalized, we tend not to see one another anymore. And I think what this movie does, what the story does, is remind us of the need to see one another again, of the need to notice one another, to reach out across aisles, across differences, across experiences, and reconnect, because we're all human beings, and this movie is about finding that shared humanity, you know, and that's really at the heart of the movie, and that's, I think, what comes through on every frame. Well, Helen Mirren can do no wrong in any movie she's in. So the moment we had her signed up, I was like, okay, this is going to be something really special. Gillian Anderson in the part of Vivienne is incredible. I mean, just heartbreaking. And the three stars that I hope you've interviewed them, are just phenomenal. They bring such depth to the characters. Their voicings, their artistry, their craftsmanship, their pathos, their humor is just extraordinary. I think we're going to see much more of them in the future. Well, Mark Baumbach was the first. I mean, when we talked about adapting the book into a movie, you know, he and I just realigned. We had the same sort of vision for it, and then Mark Forster came along, and he also just kind of brought it to the next level. Mark just brought this artistry, the cinematography, the lighting. I mean, there's a texture to this film that is so beautiful, and it's something that I don't see that often anymore in movies. It's epic. It's got this epic quality, but it's also extremely tender. The humanity just shines through on every single frame. So yeah, I'm really thrilled with the adaptation.